Hello viewers, welcome to the special show. Last week, government has taken a crucial decision to demonetize the high-valued currency notes to curb the menace of black money. A major step to demolish the parallel economy in this country. Apart from that, this is a major step which will take India towards a cashless economy in the future. The demonetization of 500 rupee and 1000 rupee notes will make the usage of electronic and plastic money more dominant in the future. But how do you use this plastic card and electronic money is something important. Let's take a look at those details in this report now.
Government's move to demonetize the 500 and 1000 rupee notes is a move towards making the country a cashless economy. Now that cash is no longer king, how do you manage your everyday and every once in a while transactions? Use credit, debit and prepaid cards. The most common alternative is the use of cards, that's credit, debit and prepaid, for any and all transactions including online transactions. The other option is to electronically transfer money from one bank account to another. There are 3 services available for such transfer: National Electronic Funds Transfer, that's NEFT, Real-Time Gross Settlement, that's RTGS, and Immediate Payment Service, that's IMPS. UPI is being touted as the biggest invention since ATMs. UPI allows a customer to pay directly to different merchants, both online and offline, without the hassle of typing card details, IFSC code or net banking or e-wallet passwords. E-wallet is an online prepaid account where one can store money to be used when required. As it is a preloaded facility, consumers can buy an entire range of products from airline tickets to grocery without swiping a debit or credit card. As increasing number of people start making electronic payments even for the smallest of things, it will help the government to track the cash flow and eventually curb the black money problem. The transition to a cashless economy will also improve savings in financial assets, which will benefit intermediaries such as banks, NBFCs, microfinance and digital money operators. Bureau Report, DD News.
With the demonetization of 500 rupee and 1000 rupee notes, going cashless has become the need of the hour. But with this comes the inevitable need to be e-safe. So we give you some handy tips when you make some online transactions.
Most of the users are using e-wallets now from their laptops or smartphones to make transactions, since most of the physical cash held by them have become worthless. With incidents of online theft, hacks and data breach on the rise, getting e-safe becomes the foremost requirement, but it's not that difficult a task. Install antivirus software on your devices and keep it updated from time to time. Use the latest version of your web browser and install security patches and software updates. Encrypting emails, files and even your entire data storage prevents unauthorized people from accessing them. Encryption provides protection against breaches of confidentiality for both company and personal data. Make it difficult for hackers to crack your password. Create smart passwords by incorporating capital letters, numbers and special characters and using more than 6 characters. To protect sensitive information like card numbers, try shopping from your home internet connection. Avoid shopping when connected to a public Wi-Fi network or public device. Always save records of your online transactions. You will also want emails you send or receive from a seller. Also, keep a tab on all your account statements on a timely basis. Make payments on HTTPS URLs only. This assures that all communications between your browser and the website are encrypted and ensures that it is your bank's authentic website. Many websites will display a lock symbol in the address bar. Do not open unsolicited emails or click on any links or attachments in an email until you verify its authenticity with the sender. Do not download from unverified pop-up messages. Bureau Report, DD News.
Demonetization of the high-valued currency notes will have its impact across the sectors in the Indian economy. However, analysts believe that this will end the corrupt practices that have been going into real estate sector especially.
The The real estate sector will definitely be affected by the demonetization exercise, as it has traditionally seen a high involvement of black money and cash transactions. There has for a long time a stringent demand to bring transparency in the sector so that it becomes more organized, and cash dealings must necessarily be the first symptom of the disease to be dealt with. The demonetization move is likely to result in luxury property prices dipping by as much as 25 to 30% as sellers struggle to offload properties to generate liquidity. This means that luxury home buyers will suddenly have a much wide bandwidth of options to choose from. With black money suddenly being wiped out of the market, a lot of investors who have been investing in projects with unaccounted for money and raising prices to book profits will be eliminated from the system, thereby aiding a much needed correction. The move by the government will improve transparency in the industry that has a reputation of being a safe haven for black money. Experts though feel that primary market will not be impacted, but resale market will feel the pinch. This decision, along with real estate regulatory law, GST, and real estate investment trusts, would further improve transparency and increase investor confidence in the real estate market. Bureau Report, DD News.
Viewers, we have with us a special guest, the chairman of the BRICS New Development Bank, Mr. K.V. Kamath, with us. Mr. Kamath, thank you very much for giving your time, sir. So, major stunner of a decision to annihilate the parallel economy from the country. My straight question, Mr. Kamath, what is the feasibility factor of inching towards that goal of achieving a pure economy without the presence of black money, through this decision of monetization?
That's a very interesting question. See, the decision has been taken. There is a broad speculation of how much of money is unaccounted in the system. And from what I've seen in the last 2 or 3 days, there appears to be, of the high value notes, about 1/4. And if it's 1/4, then you're looking at really 4 lakh crores of unaccounted money, which will not come back into the system. How they're going to address this money which doesn't come back is something that the Reserve Bank will take a call. But to me, indeed, the use of it for a purpose which was not appropriate, corrupt purpose as it were, I think eliminating that is a big step. So I think it is a very worthwhile and much needed step that has been taken.
Right. And there are arguments and counter-arguments on this issue, Mr. Kamath, about the impact of this decision on the shadow economy or the parallel economy, which call. There is a group of people which says that this latest decision does much little to even move the shadow economy, which is approximately 25% of the total economy in this country. How do you look at this analysis?
See, there are several parts to this. I used to earlier on say, when I lived in India, that our economy has 3 parts. The counted part, the uncounted part, and the unaccounted part.
Yes.
So this probably falls squarely in the unaccounted part. And the unaccounted part is also composed of 2 parts. One is genuine cash transactions that take place in the system, and the second is the transactions should not have been there, but are happening due to corrupt practices or money that has been accumulated, which is put in to the system at times that suit the person and then withdrawn from the system. I think it's that part which is really going to be under pressure. The genuine part of it, in every system there will be cash transactions, and that will I'm sure continue to happen. The question is, and I've seen a lot of skeptics talk about this, but it will reappear. That is that last bit, which is the corrupt part, and it will grow in no time. I think I have 2 points that I would like to make on this front. One, it cannot appear overnight.
Yes.
And this accumulation of 4 lakh crores, if 4 lakhs is the number, is over a long period of time. So it's going to take a long time for this magnitude to be collected. Second, I think people are missing the point that we're not living today in yesterday's world.
True.
Yesterday's world, you could physically accumulate this cash, and you had various means which worked in converting that cash into something you put into the real economy, as it were. In today's world, the growth of technology has been at such a pace, and that pace is not stopping. It is only running at it's a linear growth in terms of technology. Transactions are going to A, move more and more to technology platforms, and B, those transactions which are attempted to be done in cash will be checked and balanced. So you will have a trail on that every single transaction that you do. So I would think that the pace at which you can accumulate unaccounted wealth or accumulate proceeds of corruption is going to slow down dramatically. So I would think that this is a step taken at the right time to virtually put a stopper on this.
So can we attribute your the analysis to the other ways of money laundering, like maybe the Benami transactions and everything? You talk about technology too.
I did not talk about Benami transactions, but I have heard our Prime Minister talk about it, and I am fully with him on that. I would think that the pace at which technology has proceeded, Benami transactions going forward are going to be, I would say, significantly difficult. Now, I would think the challenge is Benami transactions which are already in the books, how do you get them out? I think that is what the government is trying to work on. But going forward, if you cut the source of cash as something that you could be holded and used in the system, and you address Benami transactions, then this illness, as it were, I think is once and for all cured.
Mr. Kamath, let us talk about the quarters apart from the black money. What effect do you think will this have on the tax-related space in this country, and how do you analyze the repercussions of this, especially when we are moving into a GST era in no time?
Yeah, there are 2 or 3 issues that need to be looked at here. And let me get the first one out of the way, and that is, will there be a short-term pain? Indeed, there will be a short-term pain because the system is trying to adjust to lower cash in its veins, as it were. So businesses will find their own solutions, and that may mean that they cut production, cut output, and so on for some time. So that could have a 1-quarter impact on business, or at best maybe a 1.5-quarter impact on business. But let me look at the positives. This step basically puts, I would say, gives a great fillip to transactions which are correctly priced rather than distorted due to infusion or seepage of black money into the transaction. I should say real estate, holding, manipulation of the distribution system, all of which affect the common man. How does the common man benefit at the end of this? In 2 ways. One, the price structure of these assets will definitely correct. Today itself, before I was coming, now the pundits in the real estate business say they expect a 30% drop in and a correction in prices. Of course, the skeptics say, oh, but the builder won't sell. I mean, that just cannot happen. What is the builder going to do with the assets? He's going to sit on them forever? He's got a bill piling up there on interest. So he has to sell the asset at prices which are significantly lower than what he was expecting. One. And this is true of all commodities. The second is the impact on interest rates. A good monsoon, control on inflation. My estimate is that interest rates are already coming down. They have come down by 70 basis points in the last quarter. We will come down by 1 percentage point, as is where is, without demonetization.
Yes.
Demonetization should bring down interest rates by at least another percent. So we are talking of, if I am right, another 2% correction in interest rates. If there is a 2% correction in interest rates over the next 12 months, you imagine the momentum it will give to the economy. Because if you remember, the 2003-2004 growth that happened in India was on the back of a dramatic drop in interest rates. The first driver of the economy was not the manufacturing sector. It was the lay consumer, you and people like us, buying a home became affordable, buying a motorcycle, buying a car, things to put in our home. Suddenly there was a demand for these things which we were aspiring for, and now they were affordable. I would think if a home loan interest rate is cut by 2%, suddenly you will have a buyer ready. Yes. And if the price is corrected, then he will be even more eager buyer. So I see a very positive environment. Again, a dropping interest rate is a very interesting thing. You mentioned taxes. A dropping interest rate, of course, spurs demand, spurs economic activity, greater tax collection. A dropping interest rate also increases profitability, because by the amount that interest rate has gone down, profit has gone up by that amount. And that is taxed. So you have a very virtuous situation here, where it will drive growth, at the same time it will add to tax revenues in 2 ways. Growth itself is taxable, the profits out of growth, and B, incremental profits out of a drop in interest rates would be taxable. So we should see a buoyant tax situation.
In fact, Mr. Kamath, you answered 2 of my next questions, real estate and also the interest rates. But then there is an analysis that this decision could lead to a cash crunch in the economy, and that will have a negative impact on the consumption. Can we buy this argument?
See, let me look at it this way. If 25% of this stock of 16 lakh crores was actually not in the system, you're talking of 8 lakh crores. Now, what we will have to really take a view on is 15 days from now, how much of this what has been sucked out is going to come back into the system. That is, I'm sure 4 lakh crores won't come back. We're left with 12 lakh crores. Of that, how much is pumped back in? I have as now I am not privy to this, but that will be the true test of how much liquidity is available in the system. 100% of it did not come back, because already the lay user, maybe you, maybe me, have been managing with just a card and maybe a payment app. Yes, I understand the man on the street, the common man, this is not happening. But you can take this from me as an old banker, having introduced ATMs in 2000. The same thing was said about ATMs. They said, who is going to use the ATM except the privileged? Nobody had an idea of what an ATM was. People asked me a question, somebody sitting behind the ATM and giving out money. This was the level of ignorance. Now, if I say this today, people laugh. Say, how? Today, ATM is your first line. So I believe electronic cash is going to be the first line. And our Indian customer is a very smart person. So he has now understood that there could be a challenge. He will explore every single alternative and correct it. So I'm saying we will wait and watch 15 days how much cash comes back into the system. But I'm sure this would have been planned, that cash has to come back into the system, the new notes, and will be refilled either at the branch end or at the ATM end.
Right. And you've been mentioning about the cashless economy, moving towards that. You are a seasoned banker, in fact. What is your opinion about, of how can we actually push this idea of moving towards cashless economy? Because in our country, it is a country with complexities and on various fronts. So, because we have to educate people on using the plastic cards, you have to address the digital divide, addressing the infrastructure challenges.
My view is again very simple in this. As devices increase, smartphones increase, this adoption is going to be automatic, because it will be seen as convenience. Again, I take you to the ATM example. Why did ATMs become popular? Because they were a convenience. They avoided you are going into a bank and lining up for 20 minutes to get your cash. You now lined up for 3 minutes and got your cash. And as long as the bank was putting enough ATMs on the street, I think everybody was happy. So that's what's going to drive this. You just basically swipe your wallet and you are off. Why do you need then to take money out of your pocket?
Yes. And India, Mr. Kamath, is the fastest growing economy in the world. Now, will there be any sort of disturbance to this status of ours after this demonetization, at least in the short term, or will India continue to grow stronger amidst this gloomy economic situation across the globe, leaving to a couple of countries?
I would think there will be an adjustment process. As I said, that adjustment process could be a quarter and a half, and thereafter we should be back to where we were. And in fact, with much more vigor, as it were, because if prices correct and demand increases, you grow better and you grow faster. So, little bit of a correction in the medium term, thereafter a much stronger growth.
Right. And Mr. Kamath, my penultimate question: people are in a state of panic. As as a seasoned banker, what do you want to tell to the people of this country?
I would think that the government has taken the first step. It is a major surgery, and I think we now have to wish the patient well and a quick recovery. And I would think the public of this country, it's a great salute to them that they have borne this with great, I would say, courage and great hope. And I'm sure their aspirations will be met.
Right. And finally, before we end this, let us talk about this new development bank as well. How are things panning out there? Especially the focus is on positioning NDB's credibility as an organization to support the sustainable infrastructure.
Yeah, I think, let me put that in context. What we said when we were set up is we have to justify the new in our name. Yes. Otherwise it was the BRICS bank. So we said the new development bank has to add value. A year back when we were set up, particularly the Prime Minister of India made a statement that why don't you look at green infrastructure as a core goal for the first year. And we ended up the first year doing all projects in the green space so far. We may do an odd project which is not, but 90% of our lending will be to green. We set a target of about $1 billion the first year. I think we will exceed it handsomely. Maybe we will be up by about 40-50% on that number. Other thing that we said was that we will do things at speed, and we will look at timelines of 3 to 6 months against 15 to 18 months or maybe longer that are taken in a conventional context. And we have been able to meet these timelines by cutting out, I would say, processes and improving processes. The second part we said is we believe that local currency is the way to go. So we raised our first green bond in China in renminbi. And it works out cheaper than using dollar funding. And of course, to China, we are lending in renminbi. The second bond, we are working on a masala bond issue for India, and we will lend in rupees. Thereafter, a ruble bond issue in Russia and so on. The interesting part here is a year back, most countries were unwilling to borrow in local currency because they thought you got dollars so cheap. But then you could demonstrate to them that the dollar interest rate is not the only element, there is also the exchange risk that comes with it, and at the end of the day, the effective rate is 12 to 14%. I think now every country understands this, and we now have requests for local currency from every country. More importantly, I think it has acted as a demonstration to other MDBs who were so far lending hard currency that the customer, the developing country, really needs to be supported in his local currency so that he doesn't take on risks beyond what he should take. I think it's been a good year in terms of setting out our own agenda, maybe explaining that agenda to other constituents and then having acceptance of that. We're now into the staffing mode, and I think we are fully functional.
And the status of rating agencies?
Our international rating should be in the first quarter of next year. We expect February or so, and that's why I said first quarter is the rupee masala bond issue. We did the Chinese bond issue with a Chinese rating. That was a AAA, and we got the finest rating that any institution in China can get.
Right. Thank you very much, Mr. Kamath, for giving your time. So that is the chairman of BRICS New Development Bank talking about demonetization issue, and he clearly says that this is in the interest of the economic growth of this country in the long term. Stay tuned to DD News for other updates. Thanks for watching. Namaskar.